we're talking about Indian companies coming to the United States. And I think that that is a new entrant into the diaspora discussion. And why is that? Well, Ambassador Singh touched upon it, that India is one of the fastest growing investors in the United States. It's growing at approximately 41% per year. And so if you look at that over a 5-year period, we're talking last year's numbers of $9 billion of Indian investment in the US. So why does that matter to all of us? Well, that's employment. Because now you're having Indian companies employing Americans. And Americans are now finding new and different ways of touching India. It's not no more the doctor, the hotel owner, the Dunkin' Donuts owner, the 7-Eleven now. It's now big multinationals coming in and employing your dad, your brother, and your sister. And you're bringing Indian managers to come in. Or you're taking companies, and since I work for the Tatas, I'm only going to talk about the Tatas. Sorry, Mr. Godrej. But you know, you have TCS. TCS works and does IT support in Kansas City. You have Indian engineers who are working in small towns in Kansas who are interacting with locals. Now, get beyond the outsourcing issue, but there's that human connection. And when you're working side by side with people who may have never had a contact with India, and the only impression of India they get is through the New York Times or Washington Post, which likes to show poverty, religious violence, or burning nano, you know, that's their only impressions of India. So it's these employees that come from Indian companies that interact with these people and actually say, you know what, these people are not out to destroy our country. They're not out to steal our jobs. They're just like me and you. They just want to survive. And this is such an interesting dynamic in the diaspora and the relationship, and it's just emerging, that, you know, I think that we only have great places to go. So I would love to engage, and I think, you know, Mr. Menezes did a great job of talking about the other group of people in our community, something that Sonal and I have fought long and hard for over the years. I'm not going to date her as long as she's been doing it, but I know her, so it gives you a little bit of an idea of how long she's been working on these issues. You know, there is a lot of new interesting issues. The diaspora is changing. The roles of companies in this diaspora is changing, and I'd love to engage more about it during Q&A.
Thank you, Kapil. Ambassador Singh, would you like to say something on this? Yeah, okay. Now that you've had a 35K view of the engagement of the diaspora, both in the US-India relations and in the corporate sectors, it would be great to hear from this panel their views on starting with the diaspora and the political and social landscape in the US. Kapil, you can start first. This time you were last time.